Welcome back, everyone, and today I have my vlog on Megaforce Episode 2, He Blasted Me with Science. Today's episode was a pretty straightforward episode. Admiral Malcor wants to find out what humans are vulnerable to, what makes them tick, essentially, and so he sends down a monster named UFO to figure out just that by running experiments on the humans. And of course, the Megaforce Rangers have to go ahead and stop him. Pretty straightforward plot. The moral at the end of the episode is about teamwork, learning to work together, and so forth. Something that is not established within the first act of the show, and really the moral seems more tacked on at the end. Of course, this is the episode where the Rangers learn to use their new power blaster. They get the Megazord, and of course, that leads to the teamwork moral at the end, as far as they can combine. If we work together, we can accomplish anything, yada, yada, yada. But the episode really kind of falls short in a number of areas. And I want to talk a little bit about the plot as far as what got this going, because it seems to indicate from the dialogue here that Admiral Malcor is not aware enough of humans, really, in this episode. It makes it seem like he just picked Earth, didn't know anything about it, and just now, after he began his invasion, that he wants to learn something about them, find out what they're vulnerable to. Now, typically in alien invasion stories, the aliens are already aware of what humans are susceptible to, and they will typically send an advanced scout or an agent to learn about Earth before they attack. That does not seem to be the case here. He's called Admiral, but I wonder he's an Admiral in what fleet and what army. Because it seems like he is kind of rogue here, almost like Megatron from Beast Wars. Because he's attacking with just him and two others and a small army. So, I don't know if this was an ill-conceived plan, if this was something he was given a mission to by someone. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. And we take a look at the villain, or the monster in the episode, UFO, which, UFO, I get it, it's not very clever. But he wants to run, and I say this again, experiments on the humans, which, when it comes to the Megaforce Rangers, it just comes about as, I'm going to shoot them and see what kills them, which is not very scientific. And by the way, the word science is used a lot in this episode, and I'll get back to that here in a minute. The word science, not actual science, mind you. So he basically captures a bunch of humans in nets, takes them to the beach, starts to begin experiments, and then the Rangers stop him, and then he runs experiments on the Rangers by shooting them. Nothing very interesting here. I mean, I'm not going to rewrite the episodes as much as I would like to and all that, but you can have a real good Dr. Mengele kind of angle to this, basically, where he runs horrific experiments on humans and the Rangers. Instead of stopping him from doing it to begin with, stop him after he's done that, maybe raise a moral dilemma about, the ethics of medicine and things like that, because it'd be Dr. UFO, and he could be misguided somehow or something. I mean, I don't know. That was just the first thing I thought of. For some reason, when he wants to run experiments on humans, Dr. Mengele was the first thing that kind of came to mind. And then, for those of you who may have read it, The Sea and Poison, which, those are all things that tie into medical experimentation in humans, which could have been a great basis for the episode, but as is, it's really just more of a showcase for the Rangers to use their weapons for the first time, well, not really for the first time, but use their weapons, use the blaster, use their Zords for the first time, which, even though it's a copy and paste from Ghost Sager as far as them using their Zords, I mean, it was pretty good, and I was really surprised how well the high definition looked between the American footage and the Japanese footage. So, props to that, I'll at least say. But that's pretty much it for the plot. Nothing too spectacular here. Nothing quite interesting in regards to it. A couple of notes on the characters and things that I found odd within the show. First of all, we have Troy. I'm not really sure what we're supposed to take from Troy here, because the episode starts with the Rangers taking a test, and Troy is having a flashback to what we eventually find out is that morning where he runs into Creepox, and has not so much a confrontation, more of a Q&A session with him. Because it basically plays out that Troy's jogging, runs into Creepox, and his first question is, "Who are you?" He says to the 8-foot alien bug. Don't ask me why. And then they do a little bit of verbal sparring, and then Creepox leaves. Now, the odd thing about that is that later Creepox basically says, "I was testing him." For the debate team, I don't understand. He didn't attack him. He didn't physically injure him. He didn't do anything. So what kind of test were you running to begin with? I would like to know. And then Troy basically, apparently he finished on with his day and went to school to take a test. Which, by the way, the last episode was the first day of school. So this has to be maybe a week later or something, and they already have a pop quiz. I don't know what high school gives pop quizzes within the first or second week of class. But beside the point. So he goes back home, he goes back to school, doesn't mention this to any of the Rangers, doesn't mention it to Gosei. He keeps it all to himself, which from the first 2 episodes, it seems like he's a very introverted person. And I hope that kind of plays into his character later on, but I find it incredibly stupid of him, or irresponsible, let's say irresponsible of him, not to let anybody know about this attack, essentially. You know, let them know, hey, Creepox is in the forest. Again, he talked with me and did nothing. So, a little confused on what's going on there, what the purpose of that scene was exactly, because if it was to let us know there was an alien threat, well, we know it. And actually, let's get to the biggest complaint I have about this episode, which is about the aliens. So I love their new prologue. And the prologue basically states that Earth was a happy and peaceful place, then aliens attacked, and everything went to hell. Okay, so are you saying this was prior to 1993? Because the way the intro makes it sound is that no alien attacks have ever happened. Furthermore, Mr. Burley points out that he hopes one day science can explain things like the Loch Ness Monster and aliens. I don't get that. Here's the thing. It makes it sound like aliens have never attacked whatsoever. And by the second episode, even the aliens from last week's episode did not appear, did not show up, did not do anything, to where people know that they're aliens now. And it makes it, and here's the weird thing, is like, Jake even says, "I'll never doubt you again when you say there are UFOs," or something to that effect. Didn't Jake realize they're aliens when he became the Black Ranger? Why is he giving that line now? That should have been a line in the first episode. Even if that was in the first episode, it still makes no sense. Because remember, this is the 20th anniversary season, 20 years of Power Rangers, and yet you're completely disregarding continuity for the sake of Mr. Burley's character is what it sounds like. I don't get that. It doesn't make any sense to me. How can you have a 20th anniversary, which is a show about aliens and monsters and mutants attacking, and yet in your second episode state that nobody's ever seen aliens, that science has not proven the existence of aliens? I don't get that. That makes absolutely no sense. Did anybody proofread this before they produced it? I don't get that. I mean, okay, I see what they're trying to do with Mr. Burley. I like Mr. Burley. I really do. He is a nut. Which I think is what they're trying to go ahead and do, is they're trying to show, hey, this guy is crazy. Because look at him. Look at the way he dresses, the way he fumbles about, plays with a Rubik's Cube. I think he's caught back in the 1980s and all that. And he's into cryptozoology. And let's be honest here, folks. Anybody that is into cryptozoology is typically a weirdo. And for those of you who don't know, cryptozoology is the study of unknown animals. And believe it or not, giraffes and gorillas were once part of that study, because people didn't think gorillas actually existed up until, I don't know, the time Rudyard Kipling or something. I don't know. But the whole point is that cryptozoology, the way people look at it nowadays, is a bunch of crazy guys looking for Chupacabra and the Loch Ness Monster and Moke Mimbe. So I understand what they're trying to do with him, make him sound crazy and everything. But for him saying that, oh, I hope aliens will be discovered one day, or science will discover aliens one day, that just makes him incredibly stupid and or naive. And then for Noah to agree with him and everything about aliens, well, once again, why didn't Noah just say, Mr. Burley, you did watch the news last week, right? I mean, CNN did a whole report about these aliens are attacking. Mr. Burley, you've been alive for the last 20 years, so you do remember when Rita Repulsa and Dark Spectre and Divatox and all those villains, they attacked the Earth? Do you not remember those, Mr. Burley? If it was chalked up to Mr. Burley just being crazy, because I really get the feeling Mr. Burley was a professor at university and got kicked out for some crazy theory he had or something, which would be great. But he was just a lot of fun. Minus that, I think this was a major misstep with the episode. And since we know the Legacy War, or the Legends War, or the Mega War, whatever you call it, is coming at the end of Super Megaforce, it's really going to be egg in the face to the writers, if it isn't already, because they're tying in the Power Ranger universes and missed that little tidbit of information that aliens already exist. So what else can I say? Pretty much, it's what you expect, kind of paint by the numbers and all that. Noah got a little bit of characterization here, not much. Troy, I already said about him. Gia, completely absent from the episode for the most part. I mean, she doesn't do anything. We don't learn anything about her. And, of course, we got to have... Emma is absent from the episode. Gia, I get them mixed up. I apologize. Gia, once again, plays the bitch. The perfect bitch, basically. I apologize for my word choice there, but that's exactly what it is. That's how it is. She shirks off everything. She acts really smug. She acts like she's superior. And, of course, they have to play the gags with Jake. She gives him the backpack, and he can't handle the backpack, despite the fact that when he's morphed, he has that giant battle axe, which I guarantee weighs more than her backpack. But comedy, trying to build Gia up and all that, and... yeah, I don't like that. I don't like her in this episode. Makes me hate her even more. I assume by the third episode I will hate her more and more until I just despise her and whatever. I hate to be harsh, but I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking about this, but in any case, that's what we have. That's the episode. He blasted me with science. So, you guys tell me what you think. Did you enjoy the episode? Was it better or worse than last week? And then we'll go on from there. So, thank you guys for listening, and I will be back with the third episode of Megaforce. Bye now.